So, huge move in the futures overnight. So let's start to pick the bones out of what that might mean and where we may be going next. So this is the daily chart of the S&P 500, and I've still got that ABC move up, where the C wave was exactly equal to the A wave. Okay. And then this sharp move lower. And in actual fact, in the futures market, we have taken out the low from the other week, albeit by a very small margin. But we're still above the 26.96 fib. It's kind of a 26.94, 26.96 is a bit of a line in the sand between the potential counts. So just sticking with this daily chart for a moment, the concern in terms of looking lower sooner rather than later is this. If all of this where I've got an A wave was the A wave down, and this move back up here where I've got this A was actually all of the B, it hit a 50% retrace fib. So it can be, it's done more than enough to satisfy the rules to suggest it's all of a B wave. Then we're going to continue lower today to at least 2600. Whether I'm not suggesting we'll get there necessarily today, but certainly that's one level we should be looking at, and potentially as low as 2519. Okay, so you'd have an A, B, C down into this region, and all of that would simply be an A wave. It would indicate that this is the top of the primary degree wave 3. We would get a B wave back up, and then a much more substantial move down for the C wave of the larger degree 4. And that ABC structure, by the way, would all be for the much larger A wave of the 4. It wouldn't be for all of it. It would just be the bigger A wave. So that's just, you know, being negative in terms of saying that's potentially what could happen. The other two ways to look at this, and I want to see what happens when the cash market opens, is this is just an expanded flat A, B, and we're still going to come up here, and this count that we've been potentially following remains intact. Okay. On the final way of looking at it, if we come down to this 94, 96 area and we see the cash market do the same, then I would simply count this as the 5th in this A wave. We need to see it hit and hold and start to take out the resistance levels above to actually confirm that we have a local low in place. But overall, on a daily time frame, it would make no material difference to this count. So step by step, we need to establish a low, whether it be around current levels or marginally lower or substantially lower. One of those two things, and that will then start to help us eliminate possibilities from the count. And then we need to see what we get on the next move up, and the combination of the level we hit on a rebound and the structure and level we hit when we move down again will determine what this actually is. Is it a wave 2 in a larger diagonal, or is it something else? So we don't have clarity on the larger degree count, is what I'm suggesting, but we're 2 steps off. The first thing is to establish a local bottom, and the second then is to see how high we come in a retrace, and the final part of the structure is to see what we hit on the C down. What I can tell you is I don't think this is all of a corrective. I think it is the initial A wave of a corrective, and if you look at all correctives, there are always 2 major legs down, and at the moment we have only had, or are in the process of having, one of them. So the next move up is very, very probably corrective, and whatever low we see here will not be the low for this move. We're going to get a correction and then lower, whatever the count is. So at the moment, today is all about looking to see where this continues down to and what we hit at the bottom. At the moment, on the ES only, it's following a WXY structure at this point in time. So we have back-to-back ABCs with a connecting wave. And if I come down to the hourly structure here, it gets a little clearer to see what the possibilities are. So off this high here, okay, we've got an A, B, C down to here and a connecting wave back. At the moment, I've just got an A, B, C down, and we've just about tagged a 138.2 fib. And that's the relationship between, excuse me, this W that I've got here and then the move down from here. If this is going to continue lower, then it's possible we've got an ABC for a 1 in a diagonal. This is a 2, ABC, this would be the 3. We come up in a 4, and then we drop down to this 92 to 83 area to complete a diagonal, which would count best as the 5th of an A wave. But again, I need to see firstly where we bottom and what we get on the way back up. What I'm going to be monitoring initially, once we start to move back up, is the retrace fibs against this high here, because if it's a 4 in a diagonal, we'll hit one of those and then drop again. So those the retrace fibs against that part of the move are all going to be the first hurdles that have to be cleared. If I come down to the 3-minute chart next, this resistance zone is the lower end micro resistance. We've got to clear that to even suggest we've got a local low of any description on any time frame in place. So we've got to get up past 27.32 through 27.44. Below there, then we are still looking lower in the ES. As I say, we need, with a large move like this that is not yet reflected in the cash market at all, we need to see what happens. And don't assume anything today. It is quite often the case when you get a very, very large move in the pre-market futures, and everyone therefore is looking in a particular direction, that you find we open, jiggle around and find support, and then end up with a very, very large move in the opposite direction during the real-time market. So absolutely no preconceptions at all going into today's market. And all I'm looking for, I'm not interested particularly in trading the first 30 to 45 minutes. I'm looking for a setup that makes sense to take a position, to simply take a safe 10 or 20 points out of this market today. That's what we did yesterday. It's what we did the day before. And that's what I'm looking to do again today. I'm not interested in getting smart with the thing or trying to catch a bottom. I think that's, particularly using futures for day trading, that's a very dangerous game to be playing today. So that's what I've got in the ES.